and I have been given the task of introducing our special guest this evening, Mr. John Nagenda. Mr. Nagenda ranks amongst the most highly regarded and widely read Ugandan writers. A poet, scholar, and columnist mainly for the Ugandan Writivism, he belongs to the generation of writers who were the first to forge a literature in Africa. His first novel, The Seasons of Thomas Tigo, was published in 1982 during the political crisis which had sent him into exile in 1966 until the restoration of peace by the National Resistance Movement in 1986. A children's novel, Mukasa, was also published. Mr. Nagenda was appointed by government in 1986 to sit on the newly established Commission of Inquiry into Violations of Human Rights, a body designated to investigate abuses that had occurred in the country since the advent of independence. He also served as President Museveni's senior advisor on public relations and media, a position he still holds. Mr. Nagenda has also worked as an editor for Oxford University Press and as a radio and television producer in New York, London, and Kampala. Between 1960 and 1987, he was member and captain of Uganda's national cricket team, also chairing the Uganda and East and Central Africa Cricket Associations. He played in the first World Cricket Tournament for East Africa and Central Africa. He has farmed, being part owner of Namutamba Tea Estate and Dairy Farm, and owner of a farm near Kampala and land elsewhere. He served on various business boards, including British American Tobacco Uganda for 25 years, and has been a consultant to several others. He chairs other companies, including iWayAfrica.com and Vulcan Telecommunications. With this background, you will agree with me that Case was spot on in selecting Mr. Nagenda to speak about the relationship between writers and politics. He not only has been involved in politics, but serves his beautiful writing to the nation in the Saturday column, where he continues to fight his lonely battle against the sentence, whilst commenting on political, social, economic, and other matters, including sports. We are very excited to have Mr. Nagenda deliver his keynote address at the 2015 Writivism Festival. Please help him, we welcome him.
This evening, it is what is the place of the writer in politics? Ladies and gentlemen, or should I say fellow writers and followers? 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 Fans? I just want to know, is everybody here a writer? Yes? And reader. Okay, I'll call you followers if you don't know. Let us start at the beginning. By the way, I have never written down a speech. Well, I think once in 1957 I did. But I liked emoting words without a script, or with a script adding to it. So you were very lucky that I've only got 3 pages. Where was I? The title of my talk and I were brought together by choice of the ones running this conference. To me, what is the place of the writer in politics is a fallible question. For example, could it be replaced by one which asked instead, what is the place of bicycle repairers in politics? Or even, what is the place of pregnant women in politics? It doesn't quite makes sense to me. This is not just a cheap job, believe me. Politics is a following, an occupation, even a way by which life can be made better, although many will laugh cynically at the last. I mean cynically that politicians are trying to make your life better. Although in modern times, perhaps in all times and everywhere, politics is also a job, a profession, a way of keeping the wolf from the door. I'd say the majority of parliamentarians where we're meeting today, which is in Uganda, belong firmly to the last camp. They are trying to keep the wolf from the door. And who can blame them? Because a wolf is a dangerous thing. And in this case, if they're so poor that they can't live, then yes, they should turn to politics. And if necessary, even go to parliament. I haven't even got to those who go into politics for power, to wield it over those below them, as they would regard them. They dress for power, they walk as if they consider powerful people. They walk as they consider powerful people should walk. Their voices drop deeper as they can go, deep as they can go. You know, I'm talking to you almost in a treble, certainly in a tenor. But talk to a politician. If there's one, please come here and talk to them. Their voices will be much deeper and more important. I'd say the majority of parliamentarians who are meeting today in Uganda belong firmly to that last camp. Oh yes, I've really read it. They dress for power, everything is as if they might add inches to their stature by wearing high-heeled shoes. The world, and with reason, considers politicians as self-regarding, conceited, vain, pompous asses. And this is not only superficial, it penetrates into their very blood and marrow. If you think I'm lying, please boo me. Of course, that is what the politicians will tell you. They will say, we are MPs, members of parliament, in politics to make our world a better place, etc., etc., etc. You can look back in history and see what they mean. There was a time when you had reformers who strained every sinew in their body to reform the state. On the whole, they had private means. They had money of their own, so they didn't need to be politicians for that. And have not joined politics as a means of putting food on the table. You could call them amateurs, in the best sense of that word. Bit by bit, though, they left the stage, not because there were no more causes to be served, but because politics, like any other job, had been moved into by professionals. And professionals, as we know, are mostly there to make money. I'm not talking about doctors or those it's a profession, but people who are into politics professionally. Anyway, I think we'll agree. Politicians are an easy target. So let me move on. Let's pretend to believe these professionals, these politicians, are selfless servants of the communities which elect them. Even then the questions won't lie down. Should writer politicians, or even politician writers, need to always choose their words, their phrases, sentences and paragraphs? not to say essays and books, according only to the dictates of politics. If, let us say, they were ordered to write or laugh, or where they exist on the changing seasons, or watching the butterfly pass through its various transformations, would it change their perceptions of these because they were in politics and were politicians? Now, let me carry on. In 1962, I was a very lucky lad to join. Yes, I have one. Everybody wants to give you water. Why don't you bring me water? Okay, let's explain. Water is very good for when you are washing your body. But my insides don't receive it with great welcome. Now I've forgotten where I was. In 1962, which is the same year that I was MC here, can you believe it? A boy of 24 talking to the governor, talking to all these important people, now dead, no doubt. Well, maybe they're not, I'm not quite dead yet. But why am I talking about that? That's interesting. Look at that. At the first, no, I said in 1962, I was lucky enough to join the grown-ups. I said this meaning more mature writers than I was then, and perhaps in some cases, as I am now, at the first Pan-African Writers' Conference, held in Kampala. Even as I say this, the taste of that experience is on my tongue and will never vanish. Here we all were, brothers and sisters, of varying shades of black and brown and white guests in inverted commas. We were joined together by our love of words. These insects on the page, as I had perceived them upon being taught to read and write, probably at the age of around 4. Drawing, dare I call it art, had been at 3 or even younger, squiggles in many forms. I have always found voluptuous pleasure in the shape and sound of words. When I'm writing, even not poetry, I often catch myself murmuring the words as they come out. The best things can be free. Being English speaking at the Kampala conference was to be in the majority at that conference, but some also knew the French also. Me not, and I remained in the same condition, or even disease. To this day, shame on me. I don't know French. It's terrible, isn't it? It's so romantic. In fact, when I was, I think about 18, my father, who traveled the world preaching the gospel of God, came home with a French woman. He didn't worry about his mother at all, because she trusted my dad. Anyway, sorry, Dad. Anyway, he brought this lady and said to me, John, now wait a minute. He came into the room and said, the day before, and said, John, I've found you a French girl to teach you French. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure. Can you imagine my elation? A French woman to teach me? Maybe I was 19. I was 18, I was very innocent. No, I couldn't believe it. To be absolutely honest, I salivated. And then she turned out. French women are very stylish. They can wear anything they like, very stylish. This one was dressed in a kind of sack, and she looked really serious, where I could see her eyes through the thick lenses. My dad, bless him, had thought my son here might misbehave. So he had found somebody, shall we say, not my cup of tea. Now, Dad would have been dead 42 years, and where he is, he died aged not quite 61. My mother followed him 7 months later, aged 55. They were very young indeed. But he was a man of God, and I don't think he wanted to put temptation in my way. Dad, let me tell you this, if you're listening. You made me lose any interest in learning the French. Wow. Anyway, so this condition of not, I call it even a disease of not knowing French, you can blame on my father. What do you think happened at the conference? Very quickly, negritude reared its head. I bet you don't know what negritude is, but it was what the black African, the black African French, or French Africans, were tired of reading French writers, thinking in French cultures. Therefore, they were rebelling against it, led by Leopold Senghor, who was president of Senegal. And therefore, they made up this word negritude, meaning let them think as Africans, as Negroes, which is what they were called at that time. Well, negritude, there were not as many as the British or the English-speaking people, but they were quite vocal. And like the French, they wanted to make their mark. So, negritude reared its head from the black French Africans present. The famous poet come president Senghor from Senegal was one of the instigations of this word. He was a brilliant poet, as you all know, but he was rebelling against the French language, although he wrote beautifully in it, what people tell him. I couldn't read it. Anyway, it was an attempt, negritude was an attempt for the French black Africans to retain their Africanness, rather than be swallowed wholesale by France and the French, which is the insidious French way, colonized with love, real or imagined, and welcoming them, so long as you left Africa at the door as you came in, or any other country other than Africa. Already, negritude was viewed by us British Africans as a bit self-indulgent. But to begin with, it threatened to steal the whole conference. So seductive was it, especially spoken with the French accent. Is that French? You know? Thank goodness, Wole Soyinka, whom you've heard of, who was not a writer and won the Nobel Prize, left to me, Chinua Achebe could have won it. But they gave it to my friend, both of them are friends of mine, Chinua now dead. Anyway, he sprang to his feet and sent negritude packing in a single bruising sentence. Do you think, he thundered, that the tiger roams the wilderness, endlessly extolling its tigritude to the exclusion of others, negritude expired on the air. Bless you, Wale. But don't forget that Soyinka, although he was and is a brilliant writer, quite difficult sometimes to understand, but you feel that brilliance is there, and I'm sure it is. What you must not forget that Soyinka was and remains a politician. I shall come to that in a second. And in fact, negritude was immediately replaced by another bugbear, political activism. Very quickly, writers at the conference were being judged by how active politically their writings were. Now, one of these writers was Dennis Brutus, a South African Cape Colored, a very good writer, now dead. You remember his poem, which ends, which is about brutality and so on. And his poem ends with that beautiful line when people are being bashed up and so on. He himself was, of course, shot. And then somehow tenderness survives. Do you remember that beautiful line? Somehow tenderness. Instead of all the suffering that the people are going through, somehow tenderness survives. Wale Soyinka had been more active than that. He hadn't been shot. In fact, he was with a pistol and held up a radio station. Well, you can imagine, one of our people, lovely Dennis Brutus, had been shot. Wale Soyinka held up a radio station with a pistol. What chance were the rest of us? So I stood up because I like to think that my writing was tender, maybe, that it was about, not particularly about politics, although if you write anything which is good, it will have that feeling that life should be fairer and the rest of it, I've said. But, you know, the people that I like reading wrote nice sentences, not just for the sake of themselves, but they did. So I stood up, and I'm so very proud of myself, because I was only 24. And some of these people, Zayfin Ferre was probably 50-something, Alex Luguma, both from South Africa, seems to be. I stood up and said, those of us who have not been shot are all held up radio stations. What are we to do with our writing? And Dennis Brutus, God bless him, stood up and said, John, I didn't ask to be shot. So, but definitely, what I'm saying here is that active political changes of government are very good and people should do it. But it cannot be, is that my time? Surely not. But it cannot be the end all of the matter. Now, I'm a bit worried about this. What do you mean? You're sitting down there, sound is coming from there. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, I wasn't deflated that these great activists seem to be saying that only their writing matters. But, as if God had sent him, a very famous Black American writer who, while this thing was going on, was reading one of my stories. put up his hand and said, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Nagenda's story here is beautiful. And he walked across the room and shook me by the hand. No? Okay. You don't want to clap, but I would have clapped if I were you. So, if I'd been in any danger of changing my writing style, Langston Hughes, that's what his name, made me feel better to this day. Now, I find that the best political writing of modern times is by means of satire. Satire is has a very long history of people who wrote it. And occasionally Chinua would do it, and suddenly Soyinka does it. But before that, people like Sheridan in England and so on. Laughing at life. I mean, let me put you in remind you of what, now I'm going to forget his name, a British politician, a socialist, said of another one. And the one he said it of, Dennis Cheney, who very nearly ran the Socialist Party, the Labour Party in England, speaking of Mr. Hart, who was foreign minister, he said, being attacked by Hart is like being savaged by a dead sheep. Now, if that is what you're going to do in your political writing, I love it. Because it is immediate, it may not be very deep, but it makes me laugh. And here, and there are so many people who do that. Here in Uganda, we've got, what is the name of the man who writes in the Monitor? I think on Sundays, using maids. His maids talking to each other. Huh? Joachim Buembo has a long-running, very satirical column. And everything he wants to say, he puts in the mouth of his maid with another maid who's visiting. Now, what I find so funny, and they're done excellently, never going too far out, but to think of a maid, and you know, we've all got maids, haven't we? Do we all have maids? What?
Yes.
I'm afraid I have 4. and but anyway, never mind. But to think of my girls at Nagenda, speaking the language of Joachim, which he puts in the mouth of his mates, is irresistibly funny. And therefore, I think this is what we're talking about. Politics can be made a funny subject. But still, it doesn't answer what is the place of the writer in politics. I have no idea. Maybe to amuse people. Sadly, I wouldn't give him the sobriquet of somebody who wants to make the world better, because I've told you what our politicians are like. Well, I think my time is over. Have I used up my time yet? Is it over 10 minutes since I stood up? Okay. So let me end on this note. And then after that, you can throw any barb you like at me when I'm talking with young Kalinati here. But if you actually throw it with, let's say, something you used to play dance, let me go to that man who can take it better than I can. Let me end like this. You can talk about the subject if you want to, and I don't, until the cows come home. And my cows, seems to me, whether you like it or not, have come home. But I'll end by telling you, by letting you into secret. Please keep it to yourself. I am a politician, kind of. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the invitation to speak at this festival. And thank you very much, John, for sharing your words of wisdom. It's good to see you in good health. This is the best I've seen you, I think, in a long time. and I was very gratified. First of all, I'm genuinely happy to see you back in your fit. I've had my run-ins with John, but I've also had my runs playing cricket with John just once. Actually. I was very gratified to learn that the doctors, when they cut you up, they actually found their heart. I'm very pleased. They actually found their heart.
So is that.
Okay. It's a bit difficult to speak about the role of a writer in politics. And I shared John's sentiments about it being very abstract. Why writers? Why not plumbers? Why not pregnant women? But I also think that there are some very specific roles that writing can do to politics and the political process that I think are worth reflecting upon. I think the first point for me is that, and I don't have a speech like John, I have back of the envelope arguments. I think politics is too important to be left to the politicians. And by writers joining into politics, I think they do two things. The first thing they do is to contest the political space. And politics, you either do politics or politics happens to you. You can't be devoid of politics, whatever you think. But the second thing that writers can do is to actually bridge the gap between the politicians and the masses and the other institutions within the society. I think in our particular context, African context, we have the state and society, and we've gone through very major upheavals in the formation of society and subsequent formation of the state. You had colonialism, before it you had slave trade, you then had, in the post-independence period, the ideological contestation between East and West. So the state that has emerged in many African countries is actually a state that uses violence upon the society. It doesn't necessarily reflect the aspirations of society. And I think part of the problem is that we didn't have a proper articulation of what the society were, what the people in the society wanted. And I think there is a role for writing to actually try and answer the fundamental questions, such as, for instance, what is Uganda? What makes you a Ugandan beyond the passport that you have? They can be abstract things, but I also think that they can be made accessible. Then they'll explain the political process. One of the issues many people raise, at least that I've encountered, is the question of neutrality and objectivity. And in my particular case, writing a book about a political actor, and the question then being raised, do you represent this person? Are you in support of this person? I don't think writing is neutral. I think the decision of what to write, how to write it, who to speak to, I think those are very cautious and subjective decisions. And I think rather than try and find objectivity that doesn't really exist, I think we need to have more writers really speaking the truth to the major issues, telling the important stories in these societies. If politics affects our lives, if politics touches all our lives, then writing, having undressed itself with the false robes of neutrality, should then contest the political space. There is a long history. If we expand the question of writing to include other artistic moments, John has very eloquently shared his anecdotes with, of people like Wole Soyinka. We've had Chinua Achebe, Ngugi wa Thiong'o in Kenya. These were, in many cases, I think, products of the age in which they grew up. This was the age of, the formation of what became an African form of identity. It's still an evolving notion. And I don't think it is surprising that a lot of the works of these writers were political. Political in the sense that some of them were, clearly, advocating for positions. Others were trying to either defeat the existing ideology. In the case of, for instance, Frantz Fanon. So there is history of this. We've had it in other journals of creativity. The South African anti-apartheid movement had a bit of text, but they had songs of protest. It was a way to communicate, it was a way to galvanize support, and I think it was extremely important and extremely powerful. The very place that we are sitting in today is not a neutral place, in my view, in the politics of Uganda. Benon Kawadwa, I think, Byron Kawadwa, who was the director of the organization that runs this institution. We had Serumaga, who was, I think, held the same position. Under Idi Amin, particularly,
Must forget. And today, for your information, if you read my article which came out today, I said in it that unless there's clear indication, however given, as I said, there's need to know, and therefore I might know, but some other people might know. Unless we know that there's going to be orderly devolution of power, let us say, let's be blunt about it. If the president was eating a meal and a throat stuck in here, and he died, what would happen? Do we have something there to make sure that all these people like Sejusa, that they not all going to Russia, taking us back to where we were and was before the movement came? So those things are inevitable, I meant to say.
I don't know how I want to do the question thing. Are there any questions or comments from the floor? Okay. Do we have lights? Do we have a microphone? Has anyone seen any of the organizers?
hope she will come up here and give it here. Because by the time Christmas.
And actually use it.
Yes.
I wasn't paid for this.
Thank you very much. I wanted to try and understand a bit more why people like Wole Soyinka did not like the negritude idea. Because it seemed to me like to be a good thing if the Francophone Africans were trying to move away from the sort of thoughts of the French colonial regime.
What were you saying, Olivia?
I said I did not understand why people like Wole Soyinka did not like the concept of negritude. So I wanted to understand a bit more about that. Thank you.
Yes. I think what happened, and I must say I agree with Soyinka on this one, it was a bit self-indulgent. Instead of getting up and writing, which is what we expect, people were bewailing negritude. It's as if somebody was forcing them to write in a different manner. So it was self-indulgent. And as I put it, when Soyinka said, looked at the tiger, I don't know whether he thought of it on the spur of the moment or didn't think about it. But when he said, a tiger doesn't take all his time talking about his tigeritude. If it's hungry, I guess it eats you, and if not, maybe makes love to its mate.
I am Jacqueline from Kenya, and my question is, can you explain to us or help us to understand how your transition from being a writer to a politician happened?
It hasn't fully happened. I'm a part-time politician. But maybe the question, because I used to write poetry, I used to write short stories, travel pieces, and I wrote one novel for mature people and another for children. Now I spend all my time writing my column. You could say it's political, you could say it is humanistic, you could say it is historical, it tells a story and something. But I find that everything I wanted to write in a novel, or indeed in a poem, I can now say in my column, which comes out every Saturday of the week. And if you're interested in reading it, it's One Man's Week, all the words together, without the apostrophe, .com. www.onemansweek.com. Without the apostrophe, you'll find it there. Or if you look, Google, under John Nagenda, you'll also find it there. Well, I've only got 43,000 entries, which is nothing to write home about. Can you imagine, I'm sure you've got about 3 or 4. But what I wanted to say, I'm 77 years of age, which means that in a way, my last quarter, QUOTA or QUARTER, are upon me. So my time is very valuable to me, and I want to say things that are happening in my country and in Africa, and also in America. When the American ambassador started giving us directions on how to run our affairs, I wrote in my column and said, if an African was to do that in Washington, they would send him home. They would ask for him to be transferred or how to be transferred. But I said, but if you want to give us advice, let me give you some. And I said, I don't think it is very good for white armed policemen to kill unarmed black men, right? And I gave him much more beside. And in the end, I was so furious, I'm so furious about it, that I swore I would never again go to the United States. My excuse being that I might be seen as an unarmed black person and shot. Now, My nephew, Tendo Nagenda, is a senior vice president at Disney Films. And he's doing a film here called Queen of Katwe, in which I've been given one line. And his father, my youngest brother, one line, right? And he's got David Owoleo, Nigerian, who played Martin Luther King. He's got him playing himself. So he's full of fun. Now, why did I say this? Just boasting as usual. But no, there was a reason. Okay, no. My brother, Tendo's father, said, we are inviting you, when the movie comes out in America in December, to a grand opening in Los Angeles. Do you know what I said to him? I'm sworn never to go to America again as long as I'm alive. If that isn't strong politics, tell me what it is.
Thank you. I'm interested in knowing, what do you think is the influence of political correctness in creative writing? And I'll give a mild example. For example, instead of saying deaf, we should say hearing impaired. There are other stronger examples, but I want you to tell me what the influence could be.
It annoys me so much. We forgot the one where people pass on or pass. What the hell does it mean? They die, right? Yes. So impaired. Or I wonder whether the person I'm going to talk to might be here. But I've got a little boy that, not little, he's grown up, but he's very, very short. Very short. And I have used the word dwarf about him because he is. I mean, he's maybe 3'6". He is. Okay, I should be speaking through here. Would he be very annoyed? His name is David. I don't know. But political correctness has a terrible, terrible Had I answered your question?
Political
Yes.
correctness.
So please, when I'm dead, which might happen one day, just say Nagenda died. Yeah? Don't say passed on. Passed on where? No. Or occasionally I say, pardon, what did you say? Say, are you going deaf, Nagenda?
Thank you. My name is Joseph Sentoke, and my question is about, like Dan said,
I usually try to pretend that it is the president, and I say, yes sir, yes sir.
my question, saying like Dan said, the writer has a duty sometimes to talk back to power, maybe guided, like you are the presidential advisor. You often say you do it through your column. And my question was, when a writer gets involved with government, when they take side with government, what's your experience regarding, okay, what does that have, how does it influence their role of being a watchman, of talking back to power, talking for the voiceless? I would like you to give us your experience. How has it affected you taking sides with government, and are you free to talk about the excesses? Maybe I even give an example.
I am very, very proud of our president. Plus, is my boss. One of the things that he has done, two of the things he has done, which make me feel endlessly proud of him, is that we went to the aid of the Somalis and we went to the aid of the South Sudanese. When he decided we should go to Somalia, I wrote in my column, I'm told Somalis like nothing better than killing each other. Let them give them the opportunity. Which was heartless, I know. But a lot of people didn't want us to do it. But the more I think of it, we have made a difference. And we are an African country. We are a small African country, a dot on the atlas. The Americans, who are the biggest people in the world in that sense, powerful, had just run away from Somalia about 10 years previously. And we went in and we are still there. It is fantastic. So, and in South Sudan, we have made a difference. Now, therefore, I have a right to be proud of my boss, the president. But if I think something is wrong, I write it in my column. You know that, David, you have read it, haven't you? Once, may God bless you. I once invited him to retire. That's a big once. But I've said other things. Maybe I should make it more obvious to people of limited ability to read between the lines. Forgive me. Today, when I wrote what I did, you tell me what you thought of it. Therefore, why did I do it? Because people said, you meet him, why don't you say, I had said it already, right? But the powerful people, they can tell you, no, I'm working on it. And then it's very rude to talk about it. Plus, I've also got my own, this shows how conceited I am. I've also got my own self to think about, right? And I want to be represented by people who might come and read these things when I'm not when I've passed on, right? Now, but then I changed my mind because we went to Somalia, and I said I was wrong to invite the president to leave because he wouldn't have been able to do it, and nobody else would have done it. So I said, therefore, what he has done now makes him a greater person in my view. In other words, it depends on the subject. And it depends, I would never discuss the president's private life, even if I knew it. Because that's it. I would hate it if somebody wrote about my private life, although my heart has been removed. I think you choose what you must do. I would feel worse about it if I hadn't said it. And people might think I belong to that group of people who can never gainsay authority.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. John Nagenda, as you said, you're in your 70s now, and you 77. And many of your colleagues at the 1962 Makerere Conference went on to oppose the powers that were in their countries, Shirima Achebe, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and very similar to the question he just asked, you went on to sort of defend the powers that be in this country, and with the example of the scars, we might interpret it anyway. At your age now, do you feel proud of yourself, or do you feel that you have sort of betrayed the cause of the contemporary African writer to an extent?
The cause of the contemporary African, what did you call me? Yeah? A traitor to writing? No, that's a new one. My dear. Are you a writer? No. No. Well, I feel so strongly about what happened to our people that is why I put in the skulls to remind people what happens if you have a bad government. I've lost so many people in that fighting. First and foremost, I'd like a state where people are not killed like flies. And if I can play whatever small part I can, I will do it immediately. If somebody said to me, you can either be a writer or somebody who's doing something about the fate of people, whatever you call them, I'll take the second. It is, there are times when I think writing is frivolous. When I think that fighting with sentences, even sentences I fight, by the way, to get a good sentence out. But it comes way down the line from whether my life is at danger or my friend's life is at danger. As I said, I never held a gun in the bush. But in my own way, I did things which were quite dangerous, and I remember them better than any sentence I've ever written. I can't make a traitor, and then the writing beside.
And you were eating some sausages during the bush. Ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, John Nagenda.
Thank you. I suppose you're asking me to make my concluding remark, which is what you said to begin with. And there are very few. It is a great pleasure to still be alive in the spot, more or less exactly where I stood to MC our independence celebrations. I don't think many people are still here and able to walk about strutting their stuff. Now, and therefore to meet people from different countries and be together talking like this is fantastic. I am very grateful to the Writivism people, which is, if that's a bad word, that's one. You can bite your tongue in two places. But there was somebody thought, oh, this is fantastic. And used it. Terrible word. I'm very, very glad that they invited me to address you. They have changed me from today to tomorrow. And I saw red. So I invited the young man, where are you? Is he there? Not right now, he's run away. I invited him to come to my house and read him the Riot Act. And he said, you can have Saturday. I said, yeah. I'll show you how glad I'm to be here. I'd rather be, no, I didn't put that very well. There is a different thing which I really like to be watching, which is cricket between New Zealand and England, which promises to be a very, very good match. But if I'd been honest, I could have run away much earlier. I could have made my speech shorter, and I needn't have answered these questions, especially the gentleman who called me a traitor. I'll see you later. Wait there. Thank you very much, and see you soon.